Welcome to OG Benchmarks. I am taking my second stab at benchmarking. This time it will be two very similar CPUs, an i5-760 and a Xeon X3430. Here are the specs on these two CPUs. Both are 4-core, 4-thread CPUs from the Nehalem microarchitecture. These are first generation Intel CPUs. The i5-760 has a base clock of 2.8 gigahertz with a turbo boost up to 3.33 gigahertz. The Xeon clocks in at 2.4 gigahertz with a reported turbo of 2.8 gigahertz. Both have a TDP of 95 watts. For completeness, here's my test bench and everything on it. The CPUs fit an LGA 1156 socket, nothing particularly exciting here, 8 gigabytes of RAM, an NVIDIA Asus GT240, that's 512 megabytes of VRAM. Software for this video includes Windows 10, hardware monitor, Speccy, and Cinebench R23. Before this video, I have benchmarked exactly one CPU, an i5-750. That went fine. This time I ran into a little problem. When I swapped to the i5-760, the CPU would not turbo. I watched the CPU speeds in both Speccy and hardware monitor, and it was sitting at the base clock. I rebooted, and everything worked fine. Very weird. I thought it was a fluke, but when I later switched to the Xeon, I saw the exact same thing. Again, a quick reboot fixed the problem. If you have seen this problem before, please do let me know in the comments section. Here's how I ran the benchmarks. First I ran Cinebench, and that's the single core, and benchmark and monitored the temperatures with hardware monitor and CPU clocks with Speccy. I wanted to make sure the CPUs weren't throttling during the runs. I second ran the multi-core benchmark again to check temperatures and clock speeds. I then let everything cool, turned off all applications, including Speccy and hardware monitor, turned off Wi-Fi, and ran the single core benchmark. I let things cool again and ran the multi-core. The i760 was fine during the test runs. It hit the expected turbo speeds throughout all the test runs. Power draw was constant at 108 watts, no signs of thermal throttling. What was strange was the Xeon. It did turbo, but the single core turbo only hit 2.66 gigahertz. I was expecting 2.8 gigahertz. So it wasn't hitting the full turbo. The power draw for both tests for the Xeon was a constant 111 watts. What's strange is the Xeon will hit 2.8 gigahertz periodically during miscellaneous usage, according to Speccy. It's just during the benchmarking that the single core pegs at 2.66 gigahertz. That's a multiplier of 20 instead of the expected 21 for 2.8 gigahertz. If you have any ideas, I'd love to hear them. Here are the scores for my final benchmark runs. The i5-760 got a 513 single core and 1806 multi-core. The X3430 got a 441 and 1586. The relative scores are about what you would expect, but I do feel the Xeon is getting a little bit gypped because it didn't get all the way up to 2.8 gigahertz for the single core run. I don't know why you would get these CPUs these days, aside from throwing together a very cheap build for surfing or email that puts them in a price-performance discussion. Here is a graph of how these three CPUs, the i5-750 from my previous video and the i5-760 and Xeon 3430, fit on a performance that's based on Cinebench score versus price graph based on bulk MSRP, according to Wikipedia. The single core scores are down in blue, and the multi-core scores are in orange. These are the labels for the different points. All the scores are about the same. Remember, these are all 4-core, 4-thread chips from the first generation of Intel, so there's not a lot of distinguishing based on performance. Not to mention, their price is roughly the same based on their original MSRP. Let's now look at what I paid for these on eBay, since MSRP is kind of irrelevant today. The picture changes a bit. Again, the orange dots are the multi-core scores and the blue dots are single core. I actually got the Xeon thrown in for free in a bigger lot, but I used the lowest price I could find as a completed listing. It was $5 with free shipping, and then added my tax. The 4-core, 4-thread Xeon gets no love on eBay, so it looks like a value leader compared to the other two, the 750 and 760. In reality, these are still just about all the same price, within just a few dollars of each other. So the difference isn't really worth mentioning. If you are patient, you might be able to get any of these for $5 or so. As I benchmark more Nehalem CPUs, I hope to fill this chart with more data points. Once more different prices and benchmarks get on the chart, I think it will get more interesting. That is, if you have time to consider Nehalem CPUs in the 2020s, then the chart will be interesting. I will work through more of these Nehalem CPUs in the next video. If you have any requests, please let me know. Also, please subscribe and/or like. Take care.